East. East.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Joyce Van Hook of Oakland, California, and I will be the moderator for this class. Today is Thursday, March 3rd, 2022. You have been muted. Please continue to monitor your mute and video buttons during class. Welcome to this Zoom class given by some students of the Institute of Divine Metaphysical Research. We are a Zoom class of international, honest-hearted truth seekers of Yahshua the Messiah. This is a school and not a church, and neither are we affiliated with any religious organization. This school is a nonprofit, non-denominational, religious and scientific research organization dedicated to showing proof of the existence of Yahweh, our Elohim, and the operation of his eternal purpose, pattern, and plan, operating throughout eternity to this present day. This school was established as a result of a divine vision and divine revelation given to the founder, Dr. Henry Clifford Kinley, in the state of Ohio in the year 1931. The school was incorporated in the state of California in the year 1958. Classes are held in Canada, United States, Bahamas, Jamaica, England, Ghana, Zambia, Malaysia, Australia, and certain other foreign countries. The host is Dr. Lenora Allen of Brooklyn, New York. In this school, we teach the true, correct, and original name and title of the Father, the Word or Son, and the Holy Spirit, which are contained in the original Hebrew text. The true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh. Yahweh has been improperly substituted with the title Lord. The true title of the Word, the true title of the Word or Son is Elohim. Elohim has been improperly substituted with the title God. The name of the Holy Spirit, manifested in or out of a physical body, is Yahshua. Yahshua has been erroneously substituted with Jesus Christ. Lord and God are titles and not names. The Apostle Paul, filled with the Holy Spirit, tells us in 1 Corinthians 8:5 that there are lords and gods many. But we now know that each Lord must have a name, and each God must have a name also. Elohim is a title, but unlike Lord and God, Elohim is a divine title. That means that Elohim is the title that our Creator chose for himself. Jesus is a name, but it is an erroneous name. A minor investigation on your part in a good dictionary or encyclopedia would prove that neither the Hebrew language, the Greek language, nor the Latin language have any characters or letters in their alphabet that would produce the sound that is made by this letter J. Neither was there a letter J, neither was there a J in the English language until some 1400 years after the Messiah's death. Therefore, such names as Jesus and Jehovah are impossible renderings of the true and original name of our Father and his Son. Christ is a title just like Lord and God. Yahweh is pure spirit, and in his pure spirit, comprehensible, inscrutable, and indiscernible. He is the ultimate source, substance, limits, and bounds of everything. We have Yahweh in his pure spirit state, symbolized on this Moses chart as a cloud. Yahweh is not a cloud. He merely chose a cloud to symbolize himself because a cloud has no particular or descriptive shape or form. We have drawn this cloud all around the edges of the chart to show you that everything on the chart is within the cloud. In like manner, everything in the universe abides within the pure spirit state of Yahweh. Yahweh, knowing that man could not perceive of him in his pure spirit state, took on shape and took on form right within himself as Elohim. This is the word or son, a superincorporeal being, that is, having the shape and form of a man, but without flesh and blood. This form can only be seen in divine visions and understood in divine revelations. Later on, this self-same spirit manifested himself in a physical body and walked the earth plane as Yahshua the Messiah, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. Now there is only one name given unto salvation, and we must know that name. So the simple yet intelligent question we should ask ourselves is, what was the name of the Savior during the time he walked the earth plane? A further understanding of this name, Yahshua, entitled Elohim, may be had by reading the preface of the Holy Name Bible. Also in this school, we teach by the divine pattern of the universe. It is called the divine pattern because it is Yahweh's pattern. After Yahweh led the children of Israel out of Egypt, he called Moses atop Mount Sinai and showed him the tabernacle pattern in a vision. Yahweh instructed Moses to build one exactly like it in the wilderness of Sinai. The pattern consists of a most holy place, a holy place, and a court round about. These three compartments make up the one tabernacle pattern. In this school, we show proof that everything in the universe is made and operates according to the structure and function of this divine threefold tabernacle pattern, and that absolutely nothing escapes the pattern. In this class, we teach the mission of Yahshua the Messiah, which was to fulfill the old covenant and to write the new covenant in our heart and mind by the preaching of the gospel. The 10 primary objectives and aims are as follows: to help you find and know Yahweh, our Elohim, as he really is and actually exists. Second, to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood of humanity in Yahshua the Messiah, without distinction of race or nationality, creed, sex, caste, or color. Third, to investigate the unexplained spirit law, or so-called law of nature, and the powers latent in man. Fourth, to encourage and promote the study of the scriptures, comparative religions, psychology, philosophy, and modern practical and occult science. Fifth, to extirpate current superstition, skepticism, and ignorance. Six, to learn, know, and understand the operation of Yahweh's eternal purpose through the dispensations and ages. Seventh, to discern and avoid being deceived by Lucifer, the serpent, the devil, the dragon, or Satan and his demons, operating the mystery of iniquity on earth through the dispensations of time. Eighth, to earnestly contend for the common salvation and faith which was once delivered unto the sons or children of Yahweh. Ninth, to make known that Yahweh from the beginning ordained there is no other name given among men, whereby man must be saved, saving the name of Yahshua the Messiah. 10th, to inherit eternal life now in the kingdom of Yahshua the Messiah, with the hope of immortal glorification in the new earth state. Our watchword is peace. Our slogan is speak the truth. We will have a prayer, a song. Scripture reading this morning will be Proverbs, the 3rd chapter. And our readers for this week are Dr. Dedariel Warren of Detroit, Michigan, and Dr. Felicia Smith of McKinney, Texas. Our prayer will be rendered
Excuse me,
by,
Proverbs 4.
I'm sorry, our scripture will be Proverbs, the 4th chapter. Our prayer will be rendered by Dr. Christina Kent of Detroit, Michigan. Our song by Dr. Lenora Allen. Our scripture will be read by Dr. Andre McDaniel of Southfield, Michigan. Let us have our prayer, please.
May we all bow our heart or mind in a moment of prayer. We ask our Heavenly Father Yahweh to please humble our hearts. Allow us to receive the things that you have prepared for us, to appreciate the significance of what he has done and is doing and will do for us, and to continue to grow our faith in him so that we may have confidence in the things that have been placed in our heart and mind, to continue to realize his ever presence. And furthermore, with all, let us manifest this love, the love of the Spirit of Yahweh in our heart and mind, and all the things that we say and do. Let our minds be stayed on him. And it's going to be through Yahshua the Messiah that this will be accomplished. These and all blessings we ask in your son's name, Yahshua the Messiah. Let us all say, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I'm going to be singing Blessed Quietness. Joys are flowing like a river since the Comforter has come. He abides with us forever, makes the trusting heart his home. Blessed quietness, holy quietness, what assurance in my soul. On the stormy seas, Yahshua speaks to me, how the billows cease to roll. What a wonderful salvation, where we always see his face. What a peaceful habitation, what a quiet resting place. Blessed quietness, holy quietness, what assurance in my soul. On the stormy seas, Yahshua speaks to me, how the billows cease to roll.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. May we have our scripture?
Morning, class. I will be reading Proverbs 4 out of the Holy Name Bible, containing the Holy Name version of the Old and New Testaments, critically compared with ancient authorities in various manuscripts, devised by A.B. Trainer, the Scripture Resource Association, reprinted by Yahshua Promotions. Hear, ye children, the instruction of a father, and attend to know understanding. For I give you good doctrine, forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. He taught me also, and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments, and live. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou doest embrace her. She shall give thee to thine head an ornament of grace, a crown of glory shall she deliver to thee. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, and thy years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom, I have led thee in right paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Take fast hold of instruction. Let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it. Pass not by it. Turn from it, and pass away. For thy sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of the wickedness, and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. My son, attend to my words. Incline thine ear unto my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thy heart with all thy diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee a forward mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy words be established. Turn not to the right hand, nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. That ends the reading of Proverbs, the 4th chapter.
Hallelujah. We thank everyone for their participation, and I will now turn this class over to our host, Dr. Lenore Allen.
Sorry, I was muted. Good morning. We spent 2 days looking at the thing about charts and the second coming. I was talking to some people this morning, and they said they'd like to be able to ask questions about that. And then I'm set up to go into the 40 plate chart. So I don't want to go and read every bit out of it because we've heard it, and we've heard Dr. Kinley do it. So I just want to go over it and see if there's any things that people would really like a clearer explanation of. Let me see if I can find it. Where is that baby? Okay. I remember, if we can just go over it. Talks about what a great school it is. He talks about how the Jehovah Witnesses teach that each day of the creation was 7,000 years long. That's what the Jehovah Witnesses say. And this woman had said that to him. He had said it, and the woman said, no, that's not true. And then he went to show it to her, which is a really good point, that he proved his doctrine, and he knew more about people's religion or the doctrines where they came from than they did themselves. Frank, you want to talk about that 7,000 years?
Not really, but but it sounded like the way Dr. Harrison have had it read. But yeah, he said that that if he's going to say something against somebody's doctrine,
Right.
then he's going to have some proof that it's true. He's not going to say something that's not right.
Yeah.
And it sounded like that what they did is, since they showed that he rested on since the Sabbath is the seventh day,
Yeah.
they tried to say, well, then that means that's 7,000 years long, and that's for every day of the creation. And then when so that means that each day is equal to that, and it's 7,000 years for each day. And then you multiply it by 7, it says it's 49,000 years. And then they said when it was showed to him, I think they had it written with Dr. Harris on page, I forget, I don't know what
I see
page
it.
that was.
6, where they're talking about it.
Yeah. Okay. And then it says the created week itself began about 46,025 BC, according to the Bible's timetable. Well, that's according to the Jehovah Witness Bible's timetable.
Right.
And so, so that's what he was, so that's what they were reading there, and that's what he was coming off of. And he said, that's what they're saying. So he read it out of their own book and told what book it come from. So, I mean, that's all I got with that, it's just reviewing what he said.
Yeah.
And then they talked about he talked about the tabernacle pattern and where the veils are and everything, and that the charts were not meant to be perfect pictures. They were supposed to be getting an idea across. That was what's important to them. And I think if you're an honest-hearted truth seeker, you're trying to get the point. You're not trying to see how perfectly something is drawn. Although now some people do have beautiful charts drawn by artists. So I don't think anybody would have any. Well, if they want to have a problem, most people wouldn't have a problem. They do look very nice. Okay. Does anybody remember anything that they really wanted to go over? Any questions that they had?
I do.
Okay.
I have a question. It's on the chart, but not related to what the founder was saying. But I do have a question, and that is, I don't know, because I mentioned this yesterday, and I don't know if it was on a chart that I saw it or where it was exactly, but I'm asking for information on this. Dr. Kinley, in showing on the Theosophy chart, where it shows the 9 principal attributes, and then to the court roundabout, he has the kingdom there, the court roundabout. And I remember a circle or a zero. He drew a circle or zero around that whole plate. And I wanted to know, because I don't remember, I wanted to know exactly if that was the chart, the plate that he drew that zero around, showing 10 as concrete, or maybe somebody can help me with that.
Okay, yeah, we could do that, but I really wanted to go over this, this thing. Does anybody have any questions from that? I mean, we could do that, but I really wanted to
Well, he did talk about that in the transcript a little bit.
Oh.
I mean, he did say that you could tell he was talking about the 40 plate chart in this transcript when he was talking about how that the attribute is right beside that spirit embodiment. So he did say that, But what you're talking about is more or less, he was showing how everything's going by the pattern, and how that you have 9 vessels inside. And when you do the court roundabout, that's the 0 containing that going around it, which is the ought, he said, which would make 10. You understand? So that is in one of his lectures that he does that, and shows how that everything's by the pattern. So just say it
All
that
right.
way.
Thank you. And may I ask, since you're speaking, Frank, may I ask this, that when you were talking about the 7,000 years that the Jehovah's Witness teach, and that you brought out, I think they may have changed that doctrine now. I remember them talking about that in a blue book, hardback book that they used to have, and that was mentioned in there. But it's, I think they may have, I'm not exactly sure, that they have changed that doctrine now, because some of the things that they used to teach in earlier years, they sort of back off from it.
Well, the whole point
Just
is
wanted to mention.
they still preach false doctrine. So yeah, and they will change. I mean, that's what he was showing with 1914, and then for them, and then they'll say that's when the kingdom came, which is false doctrine. That they were thinking it was the end of the world. And the same way with Seventh-day Adventists, he was going into that. And so they're showing how that they do preach something false, and then they cover it up, and they're, like he said, their second error is worse than their first. In other words, you said something wrong, and then you want to cover it up with another wrong. You understand? And it's just obvious that they don't know.
Right.
So,
Right.
okay.
Okay, I'm finished. Lenore, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else?
Miss Christina, just a comment. I put the link in the chat for the JehovahWitness.org website where they're talking about what they say God says about those days of creation, in case anyone wants to look at it. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. I like when he was talking about how they had a building that they let the Jehovah Witnesses have for free. And they just would, discuss things with them. And they said, well, you're 99% right. And then they were out in the hallway, till early in the morning. And they had to admit, that they were wrong, but they kept right with their own doctrine. So does anybody have anything or?
Did you see where he brought up the Hebrews, the 9th chapter?
Okay.
You ought to read that and just show you what he explained of that, which is a really good point, which you would never see that probably unless you knew the tabernacle pattern.
Okay. All right. Where did he talk about that?
So whoever's reading Hebrews 9, just read Hebrews 9 and you'll see what he was talking about there. He went into a long thing. We're not going to go back over it, but we'll just tell you what he said about it.
Okay. Hebrews.
So anybody reading, you can read Hebrews 9.
Go ahead, Felicia. You want to start?
9:1, yeah.
You want to start, Felicia?
Well, you go then.
Okay.
Yes, I'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
Hebrews 9:1. Then verily the first covenant had also ordinances of divine service and of worldly sanctuary. For there was a tabernacle made, the first wherein was the candlestick and the table and the showbread, which is called the sanctuary. And after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden censer and the ark of the covenant overlaid round about with gold, wherein was the golden pot that had manna and Aaron's rod that budded, and the tables of the covenant. And over it, the cherubims of glory, shadowing the mercy seat, of which we cannot now speak particularly.
And so one of the things he pointed out is, you see what they missed in there? They didn't show the altar of incense in the holy place. He said, now that Bible's been there all that time and they never corrected that. So you see how it was left out by mankind, but if you know about the tabernacle pattern, there's an altar of incense in the holy place. That's the one thing he pointed out there. And it's a really good point, of course. Yep. And you can see he had a divine vision revelation and could see those mistakes that are in the, or, you know, things that were omitted and stuff. So he pointed that out in this lecture. But it took him, you know, he went to Exodus 25 and all that, but, you know, because that's where it was detailed in Moses' vision. So just want to point that out.
Would you like for me to continue reading?
No, that was the point, that when they talked about the holy place, he just said the lampstand and the table shewbread, didn't say anything about the altar of incense.
Got
So that was just something that he had pointed out there. Okay.
And then
It's all right. You know, you just can go on, but thought you said somebody had questions.
okay, somebody sent. Okay. Okay, I see that it was underlined over here, the bottom of page 16. Page 16. Where it says, it says, then I ask you why you're meddling in God's business. Okay, if we could just read that paragraph. You see it on the screen? Then
Then I ask you why you meddling in God's business. Adam, Noah lived 950 years and he died. Get the point? Methuselah lived 969 years and he died. You have to tell me why they come in at that time and why they went out you. I don't have no foolishness. Now, if you were smart enough to catch it, I have already stated there can't nobody tell you what the purpose of God is but God himself. Then if you're wise enough to see it, you ought to see that I'm telling you that unless God be in me, I can't tell you how all these things are. And last Friday night, I felt like taking off through this building when that child sat there and told me that. He's 35 years gone on over my head. And you're my witness that I told you about earthquakes, people sitting right looking me in the face, been healed of all kinds of diseases. Listen, you don't know nobody and you never seen nobody that said they saw somebody that have did the things that I have done. Get it? You got to resort to Messiah and the apostles themselves. Now, if I tell you there be an earthquake at a certain time, you can say, well, listen, Jehovah Witnesses or Roman Catholics, or listen, man, don't you get what I'm talking about? I don't care nothing about that. Now, if there's an earthquake when I tell you, Bishop, and that's in the future, and it happens on the day and hour I said, been doing that for 35 years. Not just the earthquake, but all the history of the world. And you're too dumb, you're too ignorant. Sit right up there, look at it and listen at it and read it in the paper and see it on the screen. Then turn around and too stupid and you can't see what it is in here because I got this black mask on. You see the point? You don't go by that. You know there's blackbirds, red birds, and all kinds of birds and all kinds of colors out there. You don't pay no attention to that. You got it in the ontological kingdom, the same thing that you got in the anthropological kingdom. And the same fella made the blackbird that made the red one in the blue jay. Do you see the point? Elohim is behind this whole universe operating. Now, if I understand their function and their operation, I can tell you anytime I want to what's in the future. Somebody say, well, I don't believe that. You know, we teach over yonder, so and so on. Just keep your seat and sit tight. That's all you have to do. And then if it don't come just like I tell you, don't come back here no more. Go somewhere else. Now, this is like the 7th day of Adventist. Now, the 7th day of Adventist said, listen, they started up here in 457 BC, and they said this 2,300 days was a part of that, or part of this. And so the apostles, about him ascending on the cloud, and they looked for to come him in 1844. And when he didn't come in
It's something. It said in the 2,300 days, they started up at 457. They said 2,300 years was a part of this. And so they looked for Christ to come back. I think you missed that part.
Oh, did I miss that? Okay. I missed it. Okay. So
Christ to come back.
Okay. They looked for Christ to come back. They seen him go. They read there in Acts of the Apostles about him ascending on a cloud, and they looked for to come him in 1844. And when he didn't come in 1844, and even got it up there in the congressional records, and they even showed it, him show somebody in a freezer, refrigerator sitting in there all drawn up, criticizing it. Well, then the next thing you know, the woman that wrote it, and they was going around beating people to death, even went and made, do away with all their property and everything, furniture and everything, just showing you couldn't tell them nothing. Then when he didn't show up in 1844, they got the attitude. Well, we made a mistake. Well, the said, you just might as well admit it. And then after seeing they were wrong, there was nothing else they could do but admit. Then look, this is what they done then. Now let me show you what I want to show you what's happening. You see this, the sanctuary, see how the high priest burnt incense and lit the golden candlestick at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, in the table of shewbread, the hour of prayer and whatnot? Well, now they say that he was in here when he ascended. He ascended in here in 1844. And they thought that he had come here in 1844 into the most holy place. I mean, when he ascended, they thought he ascended into the most holy place and that he would be coming back to earth. Are you following me? They thought when he ascended, he went right on up in here and sat down there on the throne and that. You want to take over, Felicia?
Okay, is there a reason why we're reading all this?
I had something underlined. The point that I was looking at is that when he said something was going to happen, it happened. And then these other people are saying, well, it's going to happen this time, it's going to happen that time. And they were wrong and they didn't even want to admit it. And the other thing that occurred to me, when you see all the things that Dr. Kinley said were going to happen, he said that if he said, there's going to be an earthquake in whatever place, it wasn't for you to call up the people and say, hey, there's going to be an earthquake, watch out. It was something that was in the purpose and plan of Yahweh. He had the understanding what was going to happen. He had seen the thing that was going to happen. And when you saw what he said came to pass, and it happened every time. It wasn't like Gene Dixon, who would say something, sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't happen. They try to interpret what Notre Dame said. Well, this is what he meant when he said that. It happened every time so that you can believe in this doctrine. So that was the point I wanted to make. But does
To
anybody
increase your faith.
yeah, and we really, I don't know anybody that has that gift, but I think we've seen enough in this school in order to bring up some faith. So somebody doesn't have to tell me, oh, well, next week there's going to be a fire in Chicago. I'm not saying that because I don't know nothing about that. We don't need that. We've got so much right now. That's basically what I wanted.
They said Notre Dame has predicted this war that's going on right now. That's what they said. I
Yeah.
was reading that he predicted this war.
Well, they look at his stuff and they interpret this and they interpret that, but Dr. Kinley would tell you date, time. It wasn't like, well, this appears to be this. It would be like, definitely this place, this time, this is what's going to happen, and it would come to pass. And he would tell individuals, and he would say, from what I've read, I didn't meet him, but from what I've read, the people say, yes, that's what you said. Yes, I heard it. I saw it. Yes, you're right. In fact, there was the man who, when he heard that President Kennedy had died, he was in the service and he just fainted because what had been told to him actually came to pass. That they were talking about it before Kennedy even got in. They were going to have a Catholic president, which was unheard of, and that he's going to be nominated and that he's going to be assassinated. That was amazing.
Yes, and along with that, he said, if it doesn't happen, just like I told you, don't come back to class no more. There won't be no more class.
So I just wanted to know if there's anything else that people remember from yesterday that they want to go over.
I just have a quick comment regarding like prophecies like Nostradamus.
Yeah.
I was trying to find it in the scriptures and I don't remember where it is offhand, but it identifies a false prophet that even if what he says comes to pass, if it seeks to turn people's hearts away from Yahshua, from Yahweh, then it's still a false prophet.
Yeah, that's under the law. I don't know exactly.
13th chapter of Deuteronomy.
What is it?
Deuteronomy 13, I believe.
Great.
Deuteronomy 13, you got it, Felicia?
Well, wait a moment. We got to find out exactly.
Dario, can you get it real quick?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, I got Deuteronomy 13, but what verse?
13 and 1. It's on the screen.
Okay, you want to go, Felicia? You're not looking at. I'm sorry, Felicia. I thought you was looking at the screen. If there rise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and giveth thee a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder come to pass, thereof he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after another Elohim, which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Thou shalt not hearken into the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For Yahweh your Elohim proveth you, to know whether you love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. ye shall walk after Yahweh your Elohim, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken to turn you away from Yahweh your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Egypt, and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust thee out of the way which Yahweh thy Elohim commanded thee to walk in. So shall thou put the evil away from the midst of thee. If thy brother, the son of thy mother, or thy son, or thy daughter, or the wife of thy bosom, or thy friend, which is as thy own soul, entice thee secretly, saying, let us go and serve another Elohim, which thou hast not known, thou nor thy fathers, namely of the idols of the people which are round about you, nigh unto thee, or far off from thee, from the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth. Thou shalt not consent unto him, nor hearken unto him, neither shall thy eye pity him, neither shalt thou spare, neither shalt thou conceal him, but thou shalt surely kill him. Thy hand shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hand of all the people. And thou shalt stone him with stones that he die, because he hath sought to mislead thee away from Yahweh thy Elohim, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and shall do no more any such wickedness as this is among you. If thou shalt hear, say, in one of thy cities, which Yahweh the Elohim have given thee to dwell there, saying, certain men of the children of Belial are gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their cities, saying, let us go and serve other Elohim, which ye have not known. Then shalt thou inquire and make search and ask diligently, and behold, if it be true in the thing certain that such abomination is wrought among you, thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of the city with the edge of the sword.
Okay, I think we got the point, didn't we?
Okay. Well,
you know,
Was that it?
I was having a conversation last night, and that's basically what we were talking about. The scripture, we didn't mention it, but it's like somebody comes along, and they're your dean, and they've done all these wonderful things, and then they start telling you some nonsense. You can't stay with them, and that you got to turn your back on it, whether it's your family or somebody you consider your friend. And when we went through this change in the school, lots of relationships just broke up because we thought that we were all united in Yahshua, and we weren't. And you're addressing it right here. So it's like, and they said you should be your first one to put it on your hand on their neck. So it's like, well, it's my kid or it's my friend, or it's like, we went to school together. Doesn't matter. Let it go. Okay, so are we ready to go back onto the textbook? Does anybody have anything from yesterday that they wanted to go over? Silence. Okay, wait a moment. Why can't I get this thing to go down? Okay. Okay, so what we had been working with, and it was my plate. Okay, somebody's sending messages. What is this? Okay. All right, we had been working with the textbook. this is, I think I should go over to look at the plate again. It was this plate over here. And it is showing, no, that's not it. It is showing, okay, I'm having trouble zooming today. Why is that? It's showing Antediluvian apostasy, and it is basically a rising plate, and it shows here, let me see, okay, let me see, zoom in. Okay, I'm trying to zoom in. Oh, sorry. Can you see the plate?
Yeah, it's very clear.
Okay, now it's not. All right. I want to zoom in. This is, no, sorry. I need an engineer. So it's talking about the antediluvian, before the flood, the apostasy is plate number 16, and it shows down here, it's, it's one of these ascending plates. It shows down here that the conscience is immersed in wickedness, and it shows here that oh man, I wish I could get this nice and big. It shows here that Cain kills his brother. He's got no reason for killing his brother except that Yahweh was not pleased with his sacrifice. Let me see if I can get this bigger. And it shows that there were two people offering up sacrifices. Yahweh was not pleased with his sacrifice. So he goes and he talks to his brother about Yahweh's not pleased with his sacrifice, and he ends up murdering his brother. And because we haven't done this in a while, let's read it out of the book to go over it. I think it's in Genesis, the 4th chapter.
Excuse me, Dr. Allen. I just wanted to remind you, if you want me to, where you left off in the Elohim book.
Yeah, I know about that, but I just want to go over this thing and then pick it
Okay.
up. Genesis 4.
Okay.
Genesis 4:1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground.
Okay, and I just want to say that to interrupt, let me bring up the scripture, that sometimes people will say that they were twins, but it says that she bare again, and she had the son Abel. And the whole thing with Cain is that he feels that he should have dominance because he's the older brother. So it's not twins, it's actually the older brother. And when you look in the chart, it shows like a young child and then a younger child. So there's obviously an age difference between them. And let me pick this up. Okay.
Excuse me, Lenore.
Yes.
I have a question. Where was it that it was said that they were twins? I had not heard that.
Not something that's written. People will say that they were twins. And I'm just saying that it says, and she conceived and bare Cain and said, I have gotten a man, I have gotten a man from Yahweh, right? And then it says, and again bear his brother. So people say they're twins. It doesn't say that they were twins. There are places
Okay,
in the Bible where there actually were twins, and it says they were twins. I'm just saying that this is what people say, and I'm just saying that it's not in the Bible.
that's something that people just say by by understanding how that was written. Okay, thank you.
They put their head into it, and you know that who was the twins?
Esau and
Esau and Jacob. You know, and they, you know, she said she was told ahead of time that she was going to have twins. She was having trouble in her womb, and she's saying, Yahweh, what's going on here? And he goes, you have two nations in them. This is not what was said to Eve in relationship to Cain and Abel. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't say it in the book. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So can we keep reading?
Verse 3. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh Elohim. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh Elohim had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
Mm-hmm.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And Yahweh said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, thou shalt not be accepted. Shalt there not be, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
So it's like Cain is the older brother. He feels that he should have a natural dominion over his brother, and his brother goes and serves Yahweh, and it's acceptable unto Yahweh, and he's upset about it. And that's Satan's natural desire. I shall be like the Most High. He wants to sit in Yahweh's seat. We can read that. I think it's Isaiah 14 and Ezekiel, I think it's 26 or 36, where you read about the mystery of iniquity. He always wants to be the head dog. He wants everybody bowing it down to him. We can see it when we open the newspapers nowadays and we look at what's going on in Russia with Putin, how he just thinks that, you know, this should be mine. And he's sort of moving into his neighbor's land and saying, I want this, and that they should just roll over and play dead. So it says, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? If you're doing the right thing, then he's going to follow naturally. And it talks about in the book, follow me as I follow the Messiah. So don't just be following me, follow me as I follow the Messiah. So that's not his nature. And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. If you don't do the right thing, you're going to have problems. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule unto him. So if you're doing the right thing, then you're going to be able to rule over him. Okay, go ahead.
And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
And it just occurred to me, when you look at the way the Messiah comes in as Yahshua, the son of Nun, he comes in as his servant, as his minister. It says, lo, I come in the volume of the book. And I know lo means there, like, well, look at me. Hey, I come in the volume of the book. But it's also, lo, I come in the volume of the book. And we go through the law and the prophets, as we've been taught, picking out Yahweh's salvation, picking out Yahshua the Messiah. And he comes in lo. That's why when Yahshua shows up and he is comes back to his own town, and people say, well, who is he? How did he learn to read? He just looked like Joe Blow nobody, the son of Mary and Joseph. Meanwhile, he is the son of the Most High. Not only that, he can prove what he's talking about. He's feeding the multitudes. He's causing the blind to see. He's causing the deaf to hear. He is doing amazing things, which makes you say, even when Nicodemus said to him, "Well, we know that you're sent from Yahweh because of the things that you do." But my point is that he comes in low, he comes in humble, he comes in like Dr. Kinley talks about having the spirit in him, and he comes in a black body, which at the time was like the lowest of the low. And he looks at himself and he says, "This black mask." Well, in order for you to hear what he has to say, you're going to have the gift to overcome that and hear what is being said, see and listen and understand. There's a great gift operating in this body. I need to put all my other side things aside and go after that. Now, Cain, he wants to be on top from the very beginning, and he is not interested in learning anything. He's not going to Yahweh and say, "What can I do to please you?" He's going to Abel and trying to get him to go along with him. Any comments or anything? Okay, so can we keep reading?
Verse 9.
Okay.
And Yahweh Elohim said unto Cain, Where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand.
And I'm sorry, this just occurred to me. He says, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And you can see all the way back under the law where we were just reading, and who thought that these things would come together. What we were reading, it says, like, if your brother comes to you and tells you something that is wrong, and for you to turn your back on Yahweh, you're supposed to be the first one taking him down. So you're in a type, you are your brother's keeper. And then all the way here, like Yahshua keeps saying, love one another, love one another, love one another. And Dr. Kinley said, be kind to your family, encourage them. So you are trying to keep them, you're trying to encourage them, you're trying to show them. And we were reading in the scripture reading, is your actions are important. So yes, am I my brother's keeper? When you see that the Messiah came in and died for your soul so that you can know Yahweh as he really is and actually exists, the resounding answer from the cross is yes. You are your brother's keeper. Keep going.
Verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. And Cain said unto Yahweh Elohim, My punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me.
So his first thought is self-preservation. He's not concerned about the death of his brother. He's not even concerned that your brother's blood cried to me from the ground. It's like after Abel dies, they said, the people you've seen in the movies, dead men tell no tales. Well, apparently they do, because Yahweh knew exactly what was going on. And nowadays, when you watch TV and you see somebody will commit a crime and they figure they always do a shallow grave because they're so lazy. They dig up the body, or they find blood, or they find DNA, and they got you dead to right. So the blood does cry from the ground. And just because you take somebody off the face of the earth does not mean it's over. Continue, please.
Verse 15. And Yahweh Elohim said unto him, Therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh Elohim set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh Elohim and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch.
Mm-hmm. So you see the land of Nod, the land of sleep, the land of not being attentive to what Yahweh says, and the Enoch means a teaching or a dedication. He's going to have a false teaching. He is against Yahweh. He's he's the anti-Messiah. Okay. All right, that's it. So we can go back to chart over here. So it shows that he kills his brother, he buries his brother, and then it says his conscience is immersed in wickedness. And then you go up here and it talks about in the book how he takes his sister and he has the mark of Cain on him, which is 666, and it's not a physical. I know they show in the movies a 666 in the hairline, but it is a attitude of, if we look in the tabernacle pattern. Okay, let me see this. Okay, if you look in the tabernacle pattern, when you get beyond the veil, you see Yahweh sitting in the most holy place. He is, let me see, let me do this. Okay. You see that there's a veil here that he does not have the ability to see into the most holy place. He has this thing come up stuck here, so he is into physical ways of worship, physical sacrifices, physical water, physical oil or resurrections, physical light, physical bread, physical intercession, where they set up a man as to be the intercessor between the people and Yahweh himself, and he is not, doesn't have the ability to go past this veil, past this thing here, and see into Yahweh, get right into Yahweh himself, see right into Yahweh's purpose, pattern, and plan. He does not have that. So let me see, where were we? Okay. So it says, okay. Okay, when I get my new computer, everything's going to be great. So Cain and his wife in the land of Nod, that's the mark of Cain. And then when you go up into the most holy place, he makes himself a city for his son, the city of Enoch, and you have a type of the holy Trinity they've got here. They've got the Father, the the wife, and the Son, and they have these three are one. And it's a type of this woman here is like an example of Mary. I was reading a little bit about Babylon, and so they have this one, like this woman here. She's a type of the son of she's the type of the mother who gives birth to the son, and it is against Yahweh. So going back to this, we were reading. So okay, so where did you say we left off?
We left off on page, the 40 plate chart, page 17, the second paragraph from the bottom.
Okay, and just
Yeah,
okay.
this is the right there where it says this was prefigured.
Okay, and
no, I'm sorry, forthcoming. No, page 17.
Isn't that where we are?
Page 17, volume 4.
Page 7. I thought I had the right page.
The
Okay.
second from Yeah, second where it starts, well, in my book, it starts for committing this imbecilic. There it
Okay,
is, right there.
Lucy
Yes.
has something to say. Lucy,
I'm sorry.
you had written something in the chat.
Oh, you were talking about being your brother's keeper, and I just put in about Moses being an example of that, how that he slew the Egyptian to defend his brethren.
Yeah. So yeah, he was definitely his brother's keeper.
And also you mentioned about some people will teach incorrectly about Cain and Abel being twins. I've also heard people get up on the floor, point to the two mysteries chart and try to make Yahshua and Satan as twins.
Yeah, his evil.
Wow.
And, of course, that's, utterly false, because Yahshua, of course, is Yahweh Elohim in the flesh, and we've got Satan, of course, is a created creature. So we've got, no similarity there. It's just an error, but it's just a common one people make.
He's imitating the Most High.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, one is the creator and one is the created.
That's right.
Okay, so we're reading. So what I wanted to do is go through here, read it in context, without putting the scriptures in. Then we're going to go back and read it and put the scriptures in and read it, because that way it flows. When you stop, read that. It's like read the whole. Is anybody trying to talk or something? Silence. Okay, you know what? I think to see this in context, can we read starting here, plate 37E?
You want to continue, Felicia?
Yes, I will.
Okay, go ahead.
See it on the screen? You see it, right? Yes, no?
Yes, I see it.
It
Can you
is
hear
on
me?
the screen.
No,
No, we couldn't hear
we
you.
couldn't hear you, Felicia.
We
I
hear
can
you
hear
now.
I think you
Nope.
muted yourself again, Felicia.
Yeah.
I'll start, Felicia, then you can chime in. Where you want me to start?
I just unmuted myself. Let me do it again.
You're muted now.
Okay, go ahead.
You're fine.
Yeah, it keeps muting me back. Okay, in plate 37E is illustrated the apostasy of pagan and papal Rome, which John spoke of in Revelation, represented by a great red dragon, which was cast out of heaven and to the earth, and the beast like unto a leopard that rose up out of the sea, which made war with the sons and overcame them. The papacy being the mother church, represented by the woman that sat upon the scarlet colored beast with a name written upon her forehead, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and the abomination of the earth, followed by Protestantism and others have restored carnal ordinances such as water baptism, foot washings, Lord's suppers, etc., which were practiced under the dispensation of the law and fulfilled by Yahshua and nailed to the cross. They that practice such things, worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in their forehead and in their hand, shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, and shall be tormented with fire and brimstone and cast into the lake of fire.
Okay, so you can read that, put the scriptures in, please. Yeah. Okay. We can read it again and put the scriptures in.
Okay. In plate 37E is illustrated the apostasy of pagan and papal Rome, which John spoke of in Revelation, represented by a great red dragon. Revelation 12, verse 3 through 9.
And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great, now I'm reading my own Bible. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 diadems on his head. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to the Elohim in his throne. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought. But they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceiveth the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels cast out with him. I'm going to get my other Bible. It's bigger, I can see better, but it's raggedy as heck.
Okay, so it's just showing that he's cast out of heaven, he's operating in the earth plane, and this is apostasy. And the other one we were reading about was the apostasy also, because it's showing that Yahweh has shown forth the truth, and then you have the mystery of iniquity, or you have the devil or Satan, all these different names he has bringing in the lie, and it's being brought in through the Catholic Church and Protestantism and everything, and they're bringing in the things that Yahweh had already cast out. And back with the time of Cain, Adam and Eve had already shown and told about that there's that they had been in heaven, that they, in a type of heaven in the Garden of Eden, they were cast out. It was in their heart to know that they had to offer up some kind of an offering. They had that a guilty conscience towards Yahweh. One was acceptable, one was not acceptable. And Cain's attitude was like, hey, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to set up my own world. And he comes and he sets up his own world, which is against Yahweh. Okay, so what's the next thing we got to read? Okay. So then we can
13 and 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I got my other Bible here. Now I can see better.
Okay, great.
And she being with child cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered.
Okay, so beast like a leopard that rose up out of the sea, which made war with the sons and overcame them. Okay, so we got Revelations 13 and 7.
13 and 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the sons and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
So this beast is becoming more and more powerful, dealing with the sons of Yahweh. Okay, so can we keep reading here? The papacy.
Oh, okay. Alicia.
The papacy being the mother church, represented by the woman.
Are you unmuted, Felicia? Okay, the papacy.
No, she's not unmuted.
Okay, the papacy being the mother church represented by the woman that sat upon the scarlet covered beast with a name which was written upon her forehead. Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth. So Revelation 17:5.
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abomination of the earth.
So I'm having trouble going back and forth, but when we were looking in that most holy place, you have this woman that's standing next to her husband, and it's Babylon is against Yahweh. And I remember reading someplace like Babyland because they're taking the truth and they're not respecting it. And they're sort of like babies working with something that's really important. Okay, followed by Protestantism and others have restored carnal ordinances such
Such
as
as water baptism, foot
Mhm.
washing, Lord suppers, etc., which were practiced under the dispensation of the law and fulfilled by Yahshua and nailed to the cross.
Okay, so we can get Colossians 2:14.
Colossians 2:14. Blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to his cross.
So that law was hard for them to keep. It was something that was put on them. And instead of being glad that it's taken off and that you have the Spirit operating in you, they want to bring it back out. Okay, they that
They
practice.
that practice such things worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in their forehead and in their hand shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh and shall be tormented with fire and brimstone and cast into the lake of fire.
So Yahweh has got, he has made a place. Let me see if I can find that. It's showing here. He's showing forth the lake of fire over here for those, and it has the earth, it has the Pope, and it has the false prophets all in here, those who will refuse to be obedient to Yahweh. Okay. Okay, so we can keep reading here. Wait a moment.
Oh, Felicia,
It says, for committing
committing this imbecilic and Hinduist crime,
hideous,
Yahweh,
hideous crime.
hideous crime, Yahweh Elohim placed a mark 666 upon Cain, the man of sin or son of perdition, and he departed for the land of Nod on the east of Eden, as shown in plate 16c, being like unto the priest entering into the holy place, plate 1c.
Okay.
In plate number,
Wait. Can somebody get a dictionary and look up perdition? He's called the son of perdition. Okay, let me see. Where's my little dictionary?
Perdition. In Christian theology, a state of eternal punishment and damnation into which a sinful and unpenitent person passes after death.
Okay, so I have a state of eternal punishment and damnation. Okay, that's all right. What you just read. And do you have an etymology? Okay. It means from Middle English, it says to destroy completely, destruction. So he's got no hope. And that's, it talks about in Revelation that he's cast out of heaven, he's in the earth plane. He's got a real angry attitude because he knows he's got no hope, and he doesn't want you to have hope either. He knows he's holding the truth in unrighteousness. He knows how great it is. He knows he has no right to go back to that, and he doesn't want you to have a chance to go there also. He knows how great it is, and he's going to lead you away. Just as soon as he comes into the garden, he sees a couple dedicated to Yahweh, and immediately he starts lying and telling her, you shall not surely die. So immediately he starts calling Yahweh a liar. Yahweh Elohim doesn't know. So he's already just trying to cause trouble. As soon as he hits the ground, he's ready to rob them. It's like child abuse. Rob them of the tight relationship that they have with their true husband Yahweh, and that's what he's trying to do with the world, trying to do with the.
I'm getting feedback or something.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so can we start reading the next paragraph in plate number 2?
And
Plate,
go ahead, Felicia.
plate number 2, the entering in from the outer court to the holy place, 2E to 2C, through the first veil, 2D, represents Joshua, the door, as he said, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved. In the holy place, plate 2C, of the true spiritual temple is shown the functioning of Elohim as high priest in the temple of our body as the illustration, as the illumination in our heart by the spirit of Elohim. Holy Spirit, as Joshua said, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in the darkness, but shall have light of life. As compared to the candlestick shown in plate 1C, next is illustrated the nourishment of our inner man being fed by the words of Yahweh, recorded in the law, for man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yahweh Elohim doth man live, as compared to the priest eating of the showbread, shown in plate 1C. Next is illustrated the intercession made within us by the Spirit of Elohim, or Holy Spirit, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought, not by vain repetitions said on the rosary or words written in a so-called prayer book, but the Spirit itself maketh intercessions for us, which groanings which cannot be uttered, as compared to the incense offered on the altar of incense during the hours of prayer, as shown in plate 1C. See article prayer later in the script.
Okay, so we can go back. Yeah, we can see that, it says Cain committing the symbolic and him.
I'm getting feedback. I can't understand you.
What's the problem?
Okay, now I can understand you. I was getting interrupted. Maybe I'm the only one though. Go ahead.
It talks about that Cain, he's the man of sin, son of perdition. He wants to set up the own land of Nod. He wants to be set up as a priest, intercession between what he's calling God and what the real Yahweh Elohim is. He's an imitator, he's an actor, and it's talking about, if we can read this part in plate 2, read that over again and then put the scriptures in. So we're talking about the true priest here. In plate number 2.
In plate number 2, the entering in from the outer court to the holy place, 2E to 2C, through the first veil, 2D, represents Joshua, the door.
I want to answer your question. Do you have this? Do I have to keep it on the screen so I can show the chart?
Yes, you do. Thank you.
Okay, so you don't have a textbook.
I am not. No, I'm not home, and I'm actually using my mobile device.
Okay. Does anybody have a textbook that they could read this and we can show it at the same time? Anybody?
I have a textbook.
Okay, that's good. So
Okay, go ahead.
can you start reading in plate 2?
In plate 2, the entering in from the outer court to the holy place, 2E to 2C, through the first veil, 2D, represents Yahshua. The door, as he said, I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved. John 10:9.
I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture.
In the holy place, plate 2C of the true spiritual temple, is shown the functioning of Elohim as high priest in the temple of our body, as illustration of our heart by the spirit of Elohim, Holy Spirit, as Yahshua said, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have light of life. John 8:12.
We used to say that the
John
heart
8:12.
with the blood going all the way through your body is giving light and life to you, and as soon as that is cut off, your lights go out. So it's a type of a circulation of life through your whole body, just like this tabernacle. But if you can read just like this table, just like this candlestick, lampstand, because it's not candles. Okay, go ahead.
Then spake Yahshua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life.
As compared to the lampstand shown in plate 1C. Next is illustrated the nourishment of our inner man, Ephesians 3:16.
Ephesians 3:16, that he would grant you according to the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with might by his spirit in the inner man.
Being fed by the words of Yahweh, recorded in the law, for man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yahweh Elohim, doth man live. Deuteronomy 8:3, Matthew 4:4.
Deuteronomy 8:3. And he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh Elohim doth man live.
Matthew 4:4.
But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Elohim.
As compared to the priest eating of the showbread shown in plate 1C. Next is illustrated the intercession made within us by the Spirit of Elohim, or Holy Spirit. For we know not what we should pray for as we ought, not by vain repetition said on a rosary or words within a so-called prayer book.
Or words written, right? It says written. Or
What's
words.
the volume of the textbook are we in?
Volume 4, page 18.
It says, or words written.
Volume 4, page 18. Let me go get my textbook.
Okay, I see. Not by vain repetitions said on a rosary or words written in a so-called prayer book, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered, as compared to the incense offered on the altar of incense, during the hours of prayer, as shown in plate 1C. See article on prayer later on in the script.
Okay, so now we can start reading again. Okay, let me see. Go back. Go back. And this is page 18. It says, please, it's just saying plate 32C. Where does it say that? Okay, you can see it in plate 32C.
Yes, in plate 32C, page 16, is illustrated the outpouring of the Holy Spirit on the day of Pentecost, writing the law of the Spirit in the heart and mind, establishing the true spiritual.
Okay, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Shh, excuse.
You're going in and out.
Plate,
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yes.
In
Yeah, go
plate 32C, page 16 is illustrated the outpouring of the Holy Spirit on the day of Pentecost, writing the law of the Spirit in the heart and mind, establishing the true spiritual body of Elohim, which is the assembly. In plate 37C, page 16 is illustrated the forms of religious apostasy and shown as Mystery Babylon, composed of Roman Catholics, Protestants, Jews, and others having a form of godliness by their own righteousness, which is the law of works, but denying the power thereof of Yahweh. From such turn away.
Okay, so I got to get 32C. We can read that again.
Read it again.
Yeah, and we'll pick up the scriptures, and I'll pick up.
Okay, in plate 32C, page 16, and Jackie, can you pick it up? She's changing from the Elohim book.
Is illustrated the outpouring of the Holy Spirit on the day of Pentecost, writing the law of the Spirit in the heart and mind, establishing the true spiritual body of Elohim, which is in the assembly or church. Ephesians 1:22 and 23, Ephesians 2:20 and 22, Colossians 1:24, 1 Peter 2:5.
Ephesians, you said
1:22-23.
And have put all things under his feet, and gave him to be the head over all things to the church, which is his body, the fullness of him that filleth all in all. What
Ephesians
are we on page 18?
Second paragraph.
Okay, you can continue.
Go ahead.
Ephesians 2:20, and are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Joshua the Messiah himself being the chief cornerstone, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth unto a holy temple in Yahweh Elohim, in whom we also are builded together for an habitation of Yahweh through the Spirit.
Okay.
Colossians 1:24.
Colossians 1:24. Who once rejoice in my sufferings for you, and fill up that which is behind of the afflictions of the Messiah in my flesh, for his body's sake, which is the assembly.
It keeps talking about that his body, the coming together of the sons, is the body of Yahshua. And then we have 1 Peter 2:5.
1 Peter 2:5. Go ahead, Felicia.
One moment.
I got my textbook now.
Okay, one moment. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm on the phone, so I'm having a difficult time.
That's okay. I got your back.
Okay.
First Peter
So First Peter, I can
Go
get
ahead.
it. First
Go
Peter 2 and
5.
2 and 5. Ye also are lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to Yahweh Elohim by Yahshua the Messiah. Wherefore also it is contained in the scripture, behold, I lay in Zion a chief cornerstone, elect, precious, and he that believeth on him shall not be confounded.
So if we look at 5, you can see you also as lively stones. What Yahweh had the high priest have on his chest was the names of all the different tribes inscribed on individual stones, lively stones or precious stones. And now that's showing that they're building up the spiritual house of Yahweh, and that they were obedient to be obedient to Yahweh with the spirit in them. They are a holy priesthood, and they're offering up spiritual sacrifices. They're not looking for lambs and rams, and the sacrifices are of a clear conscience towards Yahweh to it is in your heart and mind. He will cause you to walk in his ways, acceptable to Yahweh by Yahshua the Messiah. And we went all the way back to Cain. His sacrifice was not acceptable, but it's talking about that you, as lively stones, you are going to be acceptable to Yahweh. And it reminds you what Yahweh says of Yahshua: this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. And I know we would all love to hear that. Okay, so keep reading.
In plate 37C, page 16, is illustrated the forms of religious apostasy and shown as Mystery Babylon, composed of Roman Catholics, Protestants, Jews, and others, having a form of holiness, godliness by their own righteousness, which is of the law of works, but denying the power thereof of Yahweh, from such turn away. 2 Timothy 3 and 5.
2 Timothy 3 and 5. Having a form of righteousness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. This satanic spirit, or Satan himself, incarnated in a man, as stated by John in Revelations 13 chapter, verse 17 through 18, which reads thusly: in that no man might buy or sell, save he that has the mark of the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, or 666. Plate 37 shows the Pope of Rome in his self-exalted position, trying to take the place of Yahweh, of Yahweh Elohim, and the Holy Spirit, Yahshua, as compared with the true, which is shown in plate 32. According to the pattern, plate number 1, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 4.
Well, I just wanted to show here that they show the mystery of Babylon. They have the Jews, the Roman Catholics, and the Protestants. And the thing that's neat about this thing, it shows that the people are sitting in the audience and they have question marks over their head. They do not understand what is being taught. And basically, they're just following along. And then it's shown that the mystery of iniquity is represented by the Pope, and that and that he's being bowed down to. So we got those scriptures.
Second Thessalonians 2 and 4, who opposes and exalted himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he, as Elohim, sitteth in the temple of Yahweh Elohim, showing himself that he is Yahweh Elohim.
And he used to walk around. They used to have him lifted up in the Sedia Gestatoria, and the people all lifting him up, and the people were as the sea, the holy sea, and he is above them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In
Okay.
place 16a, page 16, we have Cain, the former agriculturist, who turned his attention to
Architecture, right?
architecture, thank you. And without any divine pattern or instructions from Yahweh, he with an evil and corruptible mind builded the earthly city of Enoch, as shown in plate 16a, the most unholy earthly city, like Vatican City, plate 17a.
Okay. Wait a moment. Okay, yeah, keep reading, and then we're gonna go back.
In a figure falsely corresponds with the most holy place in the tabernacle, place 1a, or plate 1a. Also, Satan's self-exalted seat of authority before being cast out of heaven, plate 14a. This earthly city, the wicked capital of the earth, with Cain in complete control, did not stand very long before the wickedness of man on earth was exceedingly great. The city of Enoch, founded, built, and controlled by Cain, who had the mark 666 placed upon him, was a figure of the Pope of Rome and Vatican, plate 37a, has the mark of the beast in his forehead and in his hand, sitting upon his throne in the earthly city of Rome, firmly establishing the mystery of iniquity and the mystery of Babylon in the present age.
So you can see that it says as the mark of the beast in his forehead and in his mind. He thinks something and then he carries it out with his hand. So it's a unity in his body. He's not concerned about what Yahweh thinks, it's concerned about what he thinks. And all the things that Yahweh got rid of when Yahshua was on the cross and says it's finished, he fulfilled the law that was given to the Jews. He don't care about that anymore. And he's bringing that back in. And instead of being fed the words that I speak, they are spirit, they are life. They're giving you little pieces of bread instead of, excuse me?
They call it sourdough. I read that over in the law. It's sourdough that they're using, sourdough bread.
Well, we used to just these little crispy crackers, but yeah, they're giving you something that's not real, and they're telling you this is where your life is, and there's no way that it's true. So can we go through it again? Pick up the scriptures.
Okay. Now, where you want me to start at again?
We start in place 16a, page 16. We have Cain.
Okay. In plate 16a, page 16, we have Cain, the former
Agriculturist. He used to be a
I'm sorry, I got my magnifying glass. Who turned his attention to architecture, and without any divine pattern or instructions from Yahweh, he with an evil and corruptible mind builded the earthly city of Enoch, as shown in plate 16a. the most unholy earthly city, like Vatican City, plate 37A, in a figure falsely corresponds with the most holy place in the tabernacle, plate 1A. Also, Satan's self-exalted seat of authority before being cast out of heaven, plate 14A.
Okay.
This earthly city, the wicked capital of the earth, with Cain in complete, with Cain in complete control, did not stand very long before the wickedness of man on earth was exceedingly great.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Enoch, founded, built, and controlled by Cain, who had the mark 666 placed upon him, was a figure of the Pope of Rome. In the Vatican, plate 37A, has the mark of the beast in his forehead and in his hand, sitting upon his throne in the earthly city of Rome, firmly establishing the mystery of iniquity in the mystery Babylon in this present age.
And he's in Rome. And if you think about it, you know, Yahweh said that he was going to be a vagabond, and vagabond is somebody who goes place to place. And where they set up their special city, Rome, which means to like just be going aimlessly going from place to place.
Roman, huh?
It's Rome.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we now?
We're on the last paragraph. No, the second from the last paragraph.
On page 18, right?
On page 18.
Okay, all right.
In plate 2A and also 32A, page 16, is the illustrated Elohim, who having entered through the veil of his flesh, Yahshua, into glorification, is now sitting upon his throne in the heavenly Jerusalem, being made a king and high priest after the order of Melchizedek, having established by his blood the new covenant or testament in our heart and mind by the Holy Spirit. This was prefigured in the most holy place, plate 1A, with the invisible presence of Yahweh in the cloud above the mercy seat, on the ark of the covenant between the wings of the cherubim, representing the throne of Yahweh, having the 10 Commandment law written on tables of stone, which were placed within the ark of the covenant, warning to the true people of Yahweh. Remember, there is no place for correction or repentance to be found, for Satan and his angels incarnated in physical bodies, they must be cast out of those possessed with these satanic spirits by the true ministers of Yahweh Elohim. Satan and his angels are reserved to the day of judgment to be punished. 2 Peter 2 and 4 and Jude 6.
Okay, so I was showing it on the chart. So we can read 2 Peter 2 and 4 and Jude 1 and 6. Okay. Let me see. 2 Peter.
2 Peter 2 and 4. For if Yahweh Elohim spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment.
Okay, wait a moment. I just got that. Could you read that again, please? I'm sorry.
2 Peter 2 and 4. For if Yahweh Elohim spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment.
Okay, so they've those angels have no hope. They have received their punishment. They've got a life sentence, and they're not going to change. And so the other thing we need is Jude 1 and 6. Where is it?
Jude
Okay.
1 and 6. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved in everlasting chains under darkness until the judgment of the great day.
So they're reserved. They got no hope. They've got a date with destiny. And it's our joy that we've been taught the right thing, and we have an opportunity to walk in righteousness through the preaching of the gospel of Yahshua the Messiah. Anybody have any comments? I'm sorry that this is all so. When I get my new computer, it's going to be great. Any thoughts?
It's a good evening.
Well, it's and it's worthwhile to go back over these things.
Well, I'd like to point out something. This is Romanero from
Okay.
Detroit and Tampa class. When he entered the city of Nod, means the city asleep, because that's the state and condition he was asleep. And also he had a son called Enoch.
Mhm.
And that's, the satanic spirit, Cain and his wife and his son, the satanic trinity. And then there was another son, Enoch, on the other side, was righteousness and was translated. And
Mhm.
Enoch means teacher. So you got a false teacher, and then you got a true teacher. That's what Yahshua is pointing out. And they got the same names. Both of their names mean teachers, but they're to be translated. That's the one representing Yahshua Messiah in his kingdom, not in the satanic kingdom, which represent Enoch coming through Cain. I just wanted to add that thought in to the conversation.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
False teacher and the true teacher. Frank, you got anything to say?
I guess we'll be doing plate 17 next time.
Yeah, who's got 17?
Well, it's Donna Mitchell, but sometimes if she's working, she said she wanted me to do it. So it depends if she's, Thursdays are a rough day for her, but I don't know about Friday. We'll see what happens.
Okay. So we ready for the doxology?
Well, there's 2 minutes left.
Well, does everybody got anything to say?
Yes, I'll say something. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
In reference to all that was beautifully said, may I refer to Rome again? As Dr. Allen said, Rome, R-O-A-M, R-O-M-E, it's a wandering away from the truth. It's also a wandering away, going the very opposite way from what the Romans referred to as love, which in their language was and still is A-M-O-R. A-M-O-R. Amor, love.
Yep.
When it's done the other way, it's Roma, which is how they refer to Rome in their language, Roma. So they are roaming. And we are very happy that Yahshua has shown us that the adversary goes against everything he says. So we should keep ourselves away from every God, because God, in the opposite way spelled, is really every dog, D-O-G. Thanks very much.
Okay, doxology.
Dr. McCoy, did you have a count
Oh,
of the
yes,
participants of us
yes,
this morning?
yes. We had up to 49 attendees today. And as always, a wonderful class. Praise Yahshua Messiah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
We thank
Thank you.
everyone that came out to study with us today. We hold classes Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. in Malaysia, and 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. in England. May we all stand in our hearts and minds for the doxology taken from the last two verses of the book of Jude in the Holy Name Bible. Now unto him that is able to keep you from falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise Elohim, our Savior, through Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both before all time and now and ever. Let us all say hallelujah.
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 Thank you, Yahshua, for today.
Hallelujah.
Yes. Thank you, Yahshua.
Have a wonderful day, brethren.
Well, wait a moment.
Same to you.
I